Hey everyone, welcome back to AFTV. Good evening, everyone, I should say, because things are happening in the evening. And actually, this has been a feature of the transfer window. I'm not sure I've ever seen so much breaking news happen quite at night. It's not good for us. But anyway, we're here to talk about it, as always. Here on AFTV, we're going to keep you up to date with it all. We had the good breaking news earlier about Gabriel Jesus back in training. That was great to see. We have some news that I don't want to say necessarily good or bad news. It is transfer news, and it's news that I think everyone's going to find very, very interesting. I'm going to go straight into it. Well, you'll have seen from the title, it involves Kieran Tierney and Folarin Balogun. Let's start with the first bit we got here. Breaking news. Eduardo Hagen, who likes to aggregate all the news for us, has said that an agreement's been reached between Monaco and Arsenal for the transfer of Folarin Balogun, €45 million deal, an exclusive by Fabrice Hawkins. That was very quickly followed up by Fabrizio Romano, close to a total agreement with Arsenal on a permanent deal. Looks like he is heading to Monaco again. Credit to Fabrice Hawkins there. David Ornstein, and you know when Ornstein says it, Real Sociedad, close to an agreement with Arsenal to sign Kieran Tierney. This came straight after. No buy option, but Arsenal get fee and full wages paid. If all goes to plan, the left-back will travel for the medical over the weekend. 26-year-old wanted Sociedad because of regular game time and Champions League football. Sami Mokbel has said that things moved quickly on the Folarin Balogun deal. Today, things progressed very quickly. And David Ornstein, again, it's just all happened in the last, as you can see, in the last 20 minutes. Monaco, close to reaching agreement with Arsenal to sign striker Folarin Balogun. Club still negotiating final price, but 22-year-old USA international is now on course to join Monaco from Arsenal in a permanent deal. Lots to digest there. And of course, I can't digest it all by myself. Here to help me go through it all is Mr. Transfer Daily himself. Robbie, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. You know what? I just literally got home because my son was playing some football today over near Oxford, and I took him over there and got home and saw this news breaking. And yeah, it's incredible how quickly it's all moved. We've known with both these players now for quite a number of weeks that they're going to be going, but it's moved very, very quickly today.
Yeah, it really has. Where do you want to start? Balogun or Tierney?
Let's start with Kieran Tierney because I think this is the one that's really controversial. There's a lot of fans that I think they'll be quite upset about this one because it's not a fee, it's a loan move. Now, listening to what you just said there and reading up on it, how it seems to break down is that Arsenal are going to get a loan fee. We don't know how much that is yet, but they'll get a loan fee for him. But there is no sort of permanent move here, but they'll get a loan fee and Sociedad will pay the wages. So, all right, he's not one of the highest earners at the club, but that wage bill's off, that's removed off the wage bill, and they do get a fee for him for the season. But if it doesn't work out, he'll probably come back at the end of the season and they're still going to have to then try and sell him on again. So
what's the angle? What do Arsenal get out of this?
That's it. Do they, they get a loan fee? Really, that's what they get out of it. And Ornstein saying there that Kieran Tierney wants to play, and Real Sociedad, that is true. They are in the Champions League, and they got a good team. Real Sociedad, they got a very good team. So he'll be playing. He wants to play football. This is remember next year is the Euros and stuff like that. He's hoping maybe Scotland get there. He wants to be playing football, and he's not been playing football. He's not figured in any of the games, that have taken place so far against Nottingham Forest and also the other night against Palace. He wasn't even in the squad. So that was a massive indicator that he was going to be moving. And also he was always just a sub, even in pre-season. But my thing is, with Urian Timber out and Kieran Tierney moving on, even this week Saturday, we've got no Tomiyasu, who's been coming in that left position. Timber's out, as we know. Zinchenko's just coming back from injury. It is a little bit of a risk. I guess he's looking at it and thinking, well, I've got Jakub Kivior who can play in that position as well. But yeah, I feel a little bit sad about this one. I like Kieran Tierney. Would love to have seen him given a chance. But I think he's just a victim of styles in that Kieran Tierney is your traditional up and down wing back, gets crosses into the box, very good crosses, And Mikel Arteta is obviously looking for a different type of left back, one that inverts, one that plays a big role in the midfield area. And this is why Kieran Tierney's going.
I think you're right. I think he's just a victim of a different footballing philosophy that doesn't suit him. I sort of look at the way, I know they've evolved slightly recently, but you know, Liverpool, when they had Trent and Robertson bombing up and down, like, you know, I think Kieran Tierney could play in that Liverpool side and be brilliant. And yeah, we just don't play like that. You know, we have a different style, as you said, to the point where we're willing to put Partey at right back because he's a midfielder and he will invert. So I think we've seen this one coming. On the actual deal and why Arsenal would agree to a loan, because I'm still getting my head around that. The only thing I can really think is, you're right, he wants to go, so why keep an unhappy player? You get the fee and you get the wages covered. I do wonder whether we are underestimating how much availability and injury-free players are kind of looked for in the market. And when we're in a situation where, you know, we're looking at, because I would think there'd be a queue of clubs wanting Kieran Tierney, but it hasn't happened. And I don't get that. Like, I don't understand why. And I think if he can go to Sociedad, prove his fitness for a full season. He wasn't injured really last season. Go 2 full seasons with no injury problems. I think Arsenal are in a better position to command a fee next year. I think this year we've actually been surprised at the lack of demand, maybe.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think the team that was really heavily in for him at one stage was Newcastle.
Yeah.
But then Newcastle decided to go and get the kid from Hall from Chelsea. So that kind of ruled that one out. And then after that, the only really club that's really been in, well, there's been sort of 2 clubs in for him, Real Sociedad and Celtic. Celtic have not got the money to do this sort of deal. They wouldn't be able to. They're not, you know, even though they're in the Champions League as well, even though it would have been a homecoming for him, they haven't got the money to get a deal like this done. So it's come down to Sociedad. They've been a team that are more interested in it. I'm surprised that more Premier League teams didn't take a punt on him for maybe a loan as well. I really am. Some of the ones that, you know, but then maybe it's down to the player himself. So, you know, we see what David Ornstein's saying there. He wants to play in the Champions League, and Real Sociedad are in the Champions League, and no other Champions League team has sort of come in for him. So, you know,
very true.
True. I think what you're saying there about the fee, I'm just trying to look at his contract. So his contract expires in 2026. So he's still got a long contract. He's still got a very long contract.
Yeah.
So you're right. You know what I mean? He could go on loan for a year, do really well over there in Sociedad. And then, you know, they could then command a, you know, 25, 30 million pound fee, which is what they're really after. So I guess it's smart from Arsenal if he's not going to play. And it benefits Arsenal because, like you said, that he can get a fee up, and it benefits the player. But it does make me think, are we going to go out there into the market then and bring in another defender? Because we look like we're leaving ourselves a bit short. So I feel, and I sort of said it on my Transfer Daily show this morning, that a lot of players are going to be going out, but I do feel some people, you know, some players, a couple may come in before the end of the window.
I really hope so, because when you look at the options we had in pre-season, Timber out for 7 months minimum, Tierney gone, Tomiyasu's missing a game, but hasn't been reliable on the injury front. Zinchenko hasn't been reliable on the injury front. Cedric, okay, hasn't competed in pre-season, but he is a body that is there. He's a 30-year-old experienced Premier League player.
He's going to go as well.
Rob Holding's on his way. You know, there are a lot of numbers, even if you just ignore the quality of some of those players, there's a massive number of players that are no longer available or unlikely to be available for a lot of this season that, you know, I think Arsenal have to jump back into the market. I really do. Yeah. Rob Holding is going to go. Holding and Cedric didn't train, as did Tierney with the first team. So let's see. Well, there's going to be time for you know, looking back at Tierney's career when it's all confirmed and all that. I just wanted to say one quick thing.
Yeah. About a year or so ago, right, a lot of Arsenal fans were calling for Kieran Tierney to be the captain of the team, and now he's leaving on loan. It's amazing how football can just turn and change, and this is why sometimes you'll see players, when they get a move, they're gone because they're just thinking our career is so short. I mean, as I said, but a year and a half ago, make Kieran Tierney or Gabriel the captain. At the moment, none of them are starting.
Well,
It's amazing.
It's incredible how quickly things change in football. A year ago, I was seeing predicted league tables, and we weren't getting top four in them. And now those same rival fans are telling us we have to win the league. You know, with the money we spend. That is just how quickly things change in a year. I was just saying that there will be time to look back at Kieran Tierney's, Arsenal career. But I do just want to say, fan favourite and played a big part in a piece of history for Arsenal, which was winning the FA Cup. He was magnificent in those games, that final in particular against Chelsea. And yeah, we wish him all the best. It's a shame he's leaving, but I think we can understand it from all parties' perspectives. Let's talk about Folarin Balogun now, because they're saying 45 million euros. So what does that equate to? 38 million pounds, 39 million pounds?
Yeah, just under 40 million.
Which isn't bad. And for anyone, there'll be a lot of people going, well, hold on. Gonzalo Ramos went for 60 million euros, and look at all these strikers over this. Let me just say something. This is not to, maybe people are going to think I'm probably being too nice to Edu and whoever's in charge of transfers, right? I do think they should have commanded and got a fee for Tierney. And Balogun, I would have said they should have got nearer 45 to 50 million pounds. The one thing about Balogun is, I think what we're learning is also how rated these players are in the market. Look at the clubs in for Balogun, with all due respect. Monaco, okay, he scored a load of goals out in France. Fulham, West Ham, who else? Inter Milan, okay, Inter Milan, a massive club, got to the Champions League final. My point is, there's not a queue of like top tier clubs, and 60 million plus is money for top tier players to a degree. I just think, I think we could have done more, but 38 million isn't a terrible fee.
Yeah, I mean, it depends how the deal breaks down. Is there any sort of add-ons in there? Is there any sort of sell-on? We've seen this a lot in recent times. Like we saw Kostas Mavropanos go to West Ham, where Arsenal are now getting an additional £2 million because they had a 10% sell-on clause in that. So, we'll have to wait and see how it all breaks down. The truth of the matter is that the big clubs did want him, but they didn't want to pay the money. Inter Milan wanted him, they bid for him, but they wanted to pay about, under £30 million for him. And Arsenal weren't having that, quite rightly so. I think, in the current market, when you look at somebody like a Rasmus Højlund, who's gone to Manchester United for 70 million.
Yeah, good example.
You think to yourself, well, come on, we should be getting £50 million for Balogun. I think maybe they could have got the 50 million maybe off of another English club, but do they really want to strengthen a Chelsea or a Tottenham? Because Tottenham apparently made an inquiry and Arsenal said, well, listen, we got to add Tottenham tax on top of that, right? 70 million, for you guys, and which obviously they shied away from. So I think if Arsenal get 40 million pounds, which this is more or less 40 million pounds, just under, as I said, we don't know what add-ons on that. If they get around his fee, I think they would have achieved what they wanted for him. It would be a good amount of money in. It's pure profit, remember, because he's a player that has come through the academy. A year ago, he was nowhere near the team. They've sent him out on loan. He's had a good season, one good season, and now they're getting £40 million for him. It's a great business. And also, I think what Arsenal will like is the fact that he's going to Monaco. He's not going to another English team that could hurt them, or another English team where he'd really excel, and then there'll be fans saying, well, what's going on? How did we excel in to West Ham and now he scored 20 goals? What's going on? And I think Monaco's a good move for him as well, because he excelled in the French league, so he'll be able to continue that on. And if he does
it's a great move.
Yeah, he does well at Monaco, he'll get another good move. So it's good for Balogun. And I think it's not a bad deal for Arsenal. I would have liked to have seen them get 50 million, but if they get around about the 40 million, I think they were looking for anything between 40 to 50 million pounds. They get around that for a player that's come through the academy. And I know the scout who spotted him, it'd be fantastic for Arsenal. That's because when you sell players like that, it's pure profit. Pure profit. So, and that, I think they'll be pretty happy about this one.
Yeah, completely agree. We'll keep everyone up to date, of course, with what happens with Balogun, but he is on his way to Monaco. It looks like he's on the brink, very close to an agreement, both clubs, and Kieran Tierney off as well. I'm going to ask you about one more Might be a little bit of a spoiler for Transfer Daily. So if you're watching this, make sure you do tune in tomorrow morning. What about this? According to the Times, Brentford brace for Ivan Toney bids in January. Valuation expected to be around 80 million. What do you think? 80 million in January?
Well,
Mudryk part 2. We all saw the interview.
Yeah, so two things on that. Number one, I reckon that, and I was chatting to somebody today, and I was saying that with Arsenal, do you really want to, like what Chelsea did last season? They just went mad in a window, and then you've bought in all the players. Sometimes you need to hold back a bit. And maybe Arsenal looking at it and thinking to themselves, all right, let's see if anything really good comes up. Because me and a person were sort of going back and forth about Mohamed Kudus, who looks like he's going to West Ham. And I think he scored a hat-trick tonight, I heard as well. But I was saying that maybe Arsenal could be holding back for, keeping their powder dry for maybe an Ivan Toney or maybe somebody like that. So it could be the case that Arsenal go in January. And I do think it was significant the other day that when asked, right, he's asked about the team you supported as a kid, right? He said Liverpool. There's nothing wrong with saying that. You know what I mean? He supported Liverpool. Why did he have to get in the fact that he's always loved watching Arsenal play? You just say Liverpool. If somebody asked you the question and they said to you, oh, you just say, well, say you're a professional footballer and you're playing for, I don't know, Chelsea. You just say, well, my favourite team, the team that I supported growing up was Arsenal. And that would be it. But now I'm a Chelsea player. But he didn't. He then went on to start talking about Arsenal and how he loves the style of play. And that just sort of made me think to myself, have Arsenal sort of been talking to him and sort of feeling him out and saying, would you be up for a move to Arsenal? And I get the feeling that there might be something in this. And I would like to see Arsenal bid for him because I think he's a top player. Yeah, and I think he would suit Arsenal down to the ground. I really do. I think he'd be an excellent signing. Whether Brentford would want to sell him, I think his contract as well is. I think has he got a year left after? He's got about 80 or a year and a bit. I'm not too sure about that, but I think that there could be something in this. I really do. But he's going to cost a lot of money. The market's gone.
Yeah. It has. That's true. But interesting enough, the initial report saying it wouldn't cost £100 million. So that's one thing. Let's see. Of course, there'll be more transfer news in Transfer Daily tomorrow morning.
I'm going to be all over this tomorrow. Transfer Daily.
I know you 100%. Will. Only a week left, Robbie. You're getting sad about that.
Yeah, because I get to get some sleep after that. You know what I mean? So at the moment, I automatically wake up every morning about 5:30, 6 o'clock. Oh. I'm just used to getting up and researching and stuff like this. But I love it. I've really enjoyed it. But yeah, I'm getting excited to see what's going to happen in the last week. There's going to be a lot of outgoings. There's still other players. I spoke about in my Transfer Daily this morning. Cedric, as you mentioned there, he's still here. Rob Holding, Pepe is another one. What's going to happen with Pepe? Those three are going to be really interesting to see. Yeah, and Nuno Tavares as well. I think Tavares will definitely go because there are quite a few clubs that are interested in him. It's the Holding and Pepe ones. Again, not loads of clubs coming in for them. So going to be interesting to see what goes on. But also, certainly, as I said on my show this morning, they're trying to collect up some money now to then maybe go again with maybe one or two more before the window closes. And I do feel, especially with Tierney going, surely they're going to go back in for a defender. So
I think Arsenal have one more trick up their sleeve.
Yeah, I think
that maybe they hadn't planned, but a defender or someone who can.
The Timber thing has kind of thrown up a bit of a problem for Arsenal, I feel, in the defensive area, and I feel they could go in and get some sort of defender. I was thinking an attacker, but I feel that they might just keep their powder dry and wait on Ivan Toney.
I actually, by the way, I agree. I actually think the Timber thing has well and truly thrown plans down the toilet for them, and they're like, hold on a sec. Okay, we'll welcome him back end of the season or start of next, and that's great. But we really need something for now. Like football's about results in the short term. No Arsenal fans are going to sit there and go, well done, you got top four again. We know it's not your fault Tim got injured. The demands will be the same. And so I think they'll recognize they have to do something about that. Robbie, a big thanks for joining me. Really appreciate it. And remember, everyone, check out Transfer Day tomorrow for more transfer news. If you missed all the other news from the day as well, Gabriel Jesus is in training. Cesc and I were outside the Emirates to discuss that. And of course, preview content has started to come out, including a very special Tollington episode of the Invincible podcast. That's where they'll be filming now. Go have a little look at that. It is fantastic viewing. Catch you all in a bit.
Shop for AFTV merch at shop.aftv.co.uk. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, and Twitch. We've got content for every platform, so check it out.